Right, everyone. My name is Ben Roach. I'm a second year for computing for business in DCU. I'm just here to talk to you about the course and maybe why you should consider going to DCU or taking the course in your CAO. So a bit about me. My name is Ben Roach. As I said, I chose DCU because I was looking for new experiences. I came from a relatively small town. I wanted to see what city was like and branch out and meet new people. I'm in my second year computing for business. I've always had an interest in building computers as a hobby, and I wanted to improve my software skills. I know a lot of secondary schools do IT as a subject now. I'm not, mine didn't anyway, so a lot of my computing knowledge came from learning from passion. So doing it in a college atmosphere was a completely new experience for me, and I can tell you I love it. When I finish my degree, I want to go working in server maintenance and networking. I've always had an interest in cloud computing, and I'm going to be focusing on that. And I'll give you a quick rundown of the course anyway, and I'll talk about that later. So, quick course overview. Um, as per the DCU website, you can just check it up if you're curious. DCU is a great website. I believe it was updated about a month ago for computing for business. So if you're just filling out the sheet, or for your CAO, you're better off just checking it just as you do it to make sure everything's up to date as possible. So it's an undergraduate course. It's a level 8. It's 4 years to do, and as of when I checked, it is 419 CAO points. General requirements available on the website, such as like degrees. I think maths is the only requirement, but I'm not sure, so you're better off checking the website for that specifically. You get 6 months paid intro work and experience in year 3, which I'll talk about that in a later slide. And there's no computing knowledge necessary. You can just start from the ground up. They'll teach you everything you need to know. So your possible careers: programmer, web developer, technical support. You can be network engineer, project manager, and you also have the business degree on top of that, so you can do entrepreneur, founder, set up your own company, have your own lads working for you. It teaches you all you need to know. Everyone will need a website. Everyone needs computers, whether it be servers, um, upgrades, optimization. There'll always be someone to work for. There'll always be jobs available for computing students. So I'll give you a quick overview of the course. In year 1, you're introduced to programming languages, mainly Python and the fundamental of programming. So you'll be given maybe a list of very small tasks, very short bits of code to make sure you grasp them. And it kind of moves at a steady pace where everyone learns at the same, because they go really into depth on the coding to make sure you have it from the start. You'll learn to make websites, CSS, HTML. If you want JavaScript, they go more into that in year 2. But you learn to make websites for yourself. You do a group project where you do 4 or 5 of you make a website for a certain cause. You'll be given a prompt for it. You learn about the history of computers and how they were integrated to business. So how they used to have them set up, and like all the improvements they have now, and how to work with the new improvements, and with upcoming technologies, how you'd incorporate that after your degree. You'll be working in teams on projects to develop workflow and teamwork skills, especially for the first year. A lot of it is based off the most efficient way of doing things, as in how you would break up your work into certain categories that one person can work on at a time. You get to innovate and present your own ideas on potential improvements or inventions in computing. A lot of first year is mainly learning about computers, and with this one specifically, there was a module innovation where you're told it's a relaxing one compared to the rest. You're told, here's a prompt, come up with an idea on how to improve it, and you just write 20 minutes of a paragraph or something, and it lets you come up with your own ideas, and it's a big break from the coding ones and the business ones, where it's a bit heavier on knowledge more than creativity. So the course also has a lot of creative modules as well as in it. You gain experience in multiple softwares such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and more. You've probably done them in secondary school anyway, but this just shows you the more advanced functions that let you work as efficiently as possible. It's just handy to know them anyway. DCU students do get a package full of Office, so you get all those softwares given to you anyway, and it's good to know how to use them. You get in year 2, you improve your knowledge and ability to code. So like I said, with Python mainly is our one now. It's just longer programs and making sure you get it from the everything 100% before you move on to the next one, and you're just repeating basically the same process in different ways, and it's a very nice way to learn coding. You're learning new languages at the same time. SQL, which I'll talk about in a bit, and JavaScript, which I referenced about websites. You go more in depth into that. You learn about researching and delivering software requirements efficiently. So you'll be given a prompt of a software, and you're taught how to break it down. Here's what the software needs to do, and break it down to things like how will it process data, will it connect to the internet, how it will run, and stuff like that. Will it be hosted on a cloud or on your local machine? And then that just helps you with projects. Then later on, when you're given make this software, you know exactly how to break it down to what it needs to do. You learn how to set up and manage database schemas. Like I said, SQL, it's a database programming language. You learn to visualize databases and how servers will store your data and how to get them at the click of a button. A lot of modules I can speak from my own experience is continuous assessment, whether it be partially or fully. So a lot of them could be partially continuous assessment where half your grade is done there, and then you do a test, or a certain amount of it is a test at the end of the year. A lot of group projects, it's a very social course. You're working with people. It could be a big project that you get weeks to do on, or it could be a little project like, a small project you do every week. And you're just doing it with different groups. It's a very social course, and you get to meet loads of people through that work. In year 3, you're focusing on user interface design, software testing, information management, and more. So you kind of know what you're doing on the software base, and now you're just improving that and optimizing it. So like user interface design could be using websites. How will a user interact with your software? And what's the most efficient way to do so? Software testing is self-explanatory. You're working with making sure software works as intended, and information management would go back to your knowledge on databases and just improve that and how your software will store its information and how it will retrieve it. Your main focus in third year will be intra placements. So you get 6 months paid real world experience with a company. So you go off, DCU will organize it, or you organize it, and you have a company that will hire you for 6 months, and you'll be doing stuff like IT test, security, systems testing, website development, software engineering, all the lots. And this is handy for your third year because everyone's doing something that's a little bit different, kind of the same concept, but everyone's going away doing something slightly different. So when you come back in fourth year and you're doing group projects, someone's better at this, someone's better at that, and someone's better at something else, and you bring that all together to improve a workflow. And by then you'll kind of already know what you're doing software wise anyway, and you're just honing your skills. So year 4, you're going to learn about, what you're doing by now. So you're learning about search technologies, coding, search technologies, cloud computing, software engineering, and more. So it all kind of goes back to having a software, and back to your second year when you learn how to break it down. So this will be like, how will your software get its information, where will it store it, and how will it work and do its job? And that's very handy because by then you know all those things well, and that'll lead to a large team project at the end of the year, where you and a few other students will go away and do a project and submit it as your final exam. Or maybe not final exam, will be different per module, obviously. But by then you'll know what you're doing. So I picked DCU. There's a range of clubs and societies such as airsoft, karting, gaming, and there's like teams such as rugby, soccer, boxing is another one. They're great. The facilities are great as well. You have a gym, steam room, all that. You have state-of-the-art facilities helping those, as well as many events and trips with the clubs and societies. For example, I was in the canoe society and we went on a trip to Bunmahon, and that's just to kind of get to know everyone. And you go out in a hostel for a few days and have a bit of fun on the beach. So DCU really does put the effort in for their clubs and societies. It is, very helpful to join them immediately, and you get to know many people of the same hobbies as you, which is going to meet new people. You have diverse student body, people around the world. Dublin's the capital of Ireland. People across the world are mainly going to go to Dublin. You have people across the country, across the world coming to Dublin, and you meet loads of new people from loads of new places, and it's a lot of fun. Events. So DCU actually hosts a range of events, as I mentioned, with the clubs and societies, but as well, mainly in the summers, they have sports days and music events on the on-campus bar, and kind of just social events to get to know people. And they're a lot of fun. DCU really does try have a good student atmosphere for people attending. And DCU actually is ranked first in Ireland for its graduate employment rate, and 23rd in the world. So DCU kind of does everything for you as well in reason. And studying computing for business is a nice course. I've the main slideshow done, so I'll just talk about it a bit more, and then I'll go on to questions. So overall, it's code heavy, but you also get the business side of it. And I find, in my personal experience, I don't find the business as hard. I find the coding one's a bit thought heavy. So the business ones are a nice break to not relax, but it's a kind of a break in 2 different mindsets, and you can separate them and work individually. So it's a nice course to be taken a part of. By the end of the year, you're dealing with a load of social people. Your social course, sorry, you're dealing with a lot of people. A lot of your modules will be shared with other modules who have similar things. For example, I had databases with a data analysis course, and you get to work with other people across the course, and they can bring their skills from your course, and you can bring yours from your course. And overall, it is very easy to integrate with other courses. So overall, DCU is a good college. If you have any questions now, I can answer them for you. There's one here saying a minimum maths requirement for the course. Last I checked, I believe it is Sorry, it is an '06 and a H4, I believe. Um, but again, you can just check the DCU website. Um, Somewhere it's on one of these slides. Sorry, DCU website would have that, but I think it's an '06 H4. If you just search up DCU computing for business, you'll have it there instantly. Is the course maths heavy? It's not very maths heavy. I for mine, oh yeah, it's been confirmed. H6, '04 H6. It's not very maths heavy. We only had one maths module so far, and it's just talking about the logics, which can be broken down very easily. It's kind of more critical thinking. For me, I was also considering. So I forgot to mention, computing for business was my first choice. I was going to do computer science as my second choice. But computer science is more maths heavy. They've been doing maths from here on out, going on algorithms and stuff like that. While we did one kind of set of maths at the very start, and it kind of just bar that it's not very maths heavy because by the end of it you're working with numbers and coding, but I wouldn't call it maths. Is the coding in the course heavy? It is a coding based course. There's a lot of coding for it, but you're taught from the ground up. Like I say, there's no knowledge on computing necessary. So from the ground, you're taught. Like I was always, like I mentioned in my first slide here, I was always good at building computers. It was a passion of mine, but I never knew anything about software. I couldn't code a website for the life of me if I tried. And now I find it easy enough. I can throw an easy one together, scrap it up in a couple hours, a concept even. So the coding, you'll be doing coding throughout the whole course, but you're taught from the ground up. It is very coding heavy, but it's not difficult coding. If you just stick at it and in your free time, you're not under any pressure. So if you're struggling a bit, you can go away and learn about it. Um, like Python wise, like I said, I think I mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. How Python was done, graded for me, at least in my first year, was you'd be given a list of maybe 5 or 6 programs in a week. And there'd be just stuff like at the very start, get something to add. You put in 2 numbers and add them up, and you get like 5 or 6 in those in a week. Same concept, just different ways to work it. And then you just submit them online. You just press the button, and then it'll tell you if it's right or wrong and how to change it. So it's actually kind of fine coding wise, if you know what you're doing. But again, it's not hard. They teach you everything you need to know. The workload. How do I find the workload? The workload's not too bad. I would say it's not a workload you could just sit down and fire out in a couple hours. So, like I said, for the, I believe, let me get the slide here. This one, I believe it was delivering software requirements. That was a big project we had in year 2, semester 1, where you were given a software and you break it down, and that was a long one. So it was kind of, you got a couple of weeks to do that. Although I think everything gives you enough time to work on it. Like if you ignore it till the next day or two, sometimes you're going to be stuck. It's just going to happen. So it's the same thing any course will tell you, no matter what course they'll tell you, just when you get it, give it a start and just be consistent with it, and you'll get it done fine. There have been a few times where we've had to ask for extensions when we've given them, but I wouldn't rely on it. Is the course roughly percent business, 50%, or sorry, 50% business, 50% computing? Maybe. It's an interesting question. So for at least the first year, it was mainly the businessy kind of ones. Like that innovation one, I thought was very good for creative thinking. We did have basics of Python and website development like HTML and CSS at the start, but a lot of them were kind of more businessy on the businessy side. So, but there was computing, obviously, like networks. You learn very quickly. Trying to think, it's the best way to answer this. So yeah, you are kind of, they are split, but I would say the coding takes more work, if that makes sense. When you're sitting at home, you'll be doing more work on the coding, and the business will be kind of on the, you won't be doing as much, you won't be on it as long, because that's just typing out things that you'll know in your head already. The coding takes a lot of time sitting down to think about. So, but the modules themselves, there's a few, it is a good mix. I couldn't say if it's exactly 50-50. For me, I spent a lot more time in the coding ones than in the labs, spending time coding, but yeah, there's a decent break between them. If there's any more questions, you can fire my way, because I have another 10 minutes of time on my slot, so I'm in no rush. If anyone has any other questions, I can answer. Other than that, good course. If you get your work done, it's not too coding heavy. I think like it's an enjoyable course. It's not one you have to sit down 24/7 in the books. Although you should study, but like it's one you can just tip away at and get it done consistently over time. As long as you're consistent, it gets done. How many hours are there a week for per classroom? So if you want to look at the actual timetables, you can. If you go on open timetables, I think the code is COMBUZ1, and you can just click that and see your timetables. Well, the timetables for the first years now and what it's like, but obviously it'll change a bit with timetabling. There's not that many hours per week sorry, there is, but a lot of it is labs. So labs you can do a lot of them now. Some of them you're required to go in, but a lot of them if you know what you're doing, you can sit at home and do them yourselves and work there. A lot of labs are just given or acting as extra time for students to actually get into college because they know they'll get work done in college. Um, but a lot of time is spent in the classrooms. For example, my timetable this year is mainly my Monday and Thursday. I do quite a few hours. I think I'm in 9 till about 5, but then my Tuesdays and Thursdays, or sorry, yeah, my Monday and Wednesdays are heavy class wise, but my Tuesday and Thursday are more labs. So it's up to the lecturers whether they want to use that lab as a class or just give you free time to work. A lot of them do that towards the end of the year, where it's less class time and more work in labs. So it's kind of broken up between that. If anyone else has any more questions, feel free. Other than that, I think I covered most of the course. If there's any slides specifically you want me to focus on, I can go over them again. But yeah, that's about it. Overall, I think as long as you're consistent with the course, if you like computers and you're passionate, computing for business is not a difficult course if you work for it, if that makes sense. If you sit down and ignore it, you'll struggle with the coding. You need to show up and just learn them. But once you learn them, like year 3 and 4, you know what you're doing by then. You've done your intro placement, and you're ready to go out into the world. A lot of places I forgot to mention, and I should. And with the intro placement, a lot of places might keep you. I've heard people get deals where the intro placement went, yeah, you were pretty good, we'll keep you on, finish your degree and come back to us and we'll hire you straight away. And it's a fairly good deal. Some workplaces in the future will have that as well, where if they see you have that computing for business degree, but you don't quite have what they need, they'll tell you if you want to go out and learn it and get the certificate, you can come back to us and we'll hire you on the spot. So it's kind of handy in that. Getting a job will not be difficult with this degree. Everyone needs computers fixed. Everyone needs a website. There's always something for you to do. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Good luck on your CAOs. Hopefully, computing for business is one of your considerations, and enjoy. Good luck.